And then, Alfonso, talk a little bit about, from a credit analyst standpoint, I know you deal mostly with more complex credits. I know you've had a lot of experience kind of, as the business matures or grows, kind of, what do you look for as far as approving and saying the golden word of yes when it comes to credit?
Well, several of the things we look for in business banking is a strong balance sheet. We're looking for strong management, experienced management, managers who have proven the ability to manage through the downturn. We're looking for historical trends that are starting to show some improvement. We're looking at interims and projections that are starting to look more profitable, that are starting to improve. Overall, in the business banking group, our niche is companies with revenues in the 2 to 25 million. But we have a lot of other groups that we also work with. So just because you don't fit that niche, as you speak to a Wells Fargo business banker, he's going to do his best to review the company, look at your financials, look at your requests, and then find some of the other lending groups that we have. For instance, SBA, we have Maxco, which is our medical group, with FFA, which is Wells Fargo equipment. And although you might not fit our niche in the business banking group, we have other lending groups that can work with you and to help you raise that capital.
Right. And to give some context, and this is more specific to Wells Fargo, but I want to tag team on what Eli talked about having a relationship with a banker. And when you choose your banker, whether it's Wells Fargo, whether it's Bank of America, whether it's whoever it is, you want to choose a banker that has access to everything. And so as you've heard them talk through kind of, there's a lot of products, a lot of different ways. It gets complex because you kind of feel like, I'm not sure which way I'm supposed to go. And that's what your banker does. Your banker will be able to maneuver through, whether it's going through some of the options that you talked about, or whether it goes into some of the options that Alfonso talked about. So a lot of times people come up and say, SBA, I have to go through the SBA. Well, then they get, well, how do I go through the SBA? Who do I talk to about that? And so that's why I want to transition to Terry. Terry, talk a little bit about the kind of SBA, and I don't want to call them the myths, but some of the misconceptions maybe, and then exactly how do we gain access to the SBA around lending?
Okay. First, the Small Business Administration, or SBA, we are not a direct lender. Once upon a time when we first started out in 1953, we did do direct lending, but we've been out of that business for about 20 years. We're a guarantor of loans made by private commercial financing entities. That could be bank or non-bank. And basically with the guarantee, we guarantee a percentage of the loan. And the idea being, by providing that guarantee, we're reducing the risk to the lender, their exposure, and therefore making it a much more favorable environment for them to make the loan versus not make it. The guarantee also allows the loan to be maybe made on more favorable terms than what would be available commercially or conventionally had, without the SBA. For example, it may allow for a longer term, which means your loan can be fully amortized, equal payments, smaller payments throughout the life of the loan, no balloon payments. In some cases, it can be a lower down payment or equity injection. And I'll touch a little bit on those. Do you want me to go ahead and just continue? Basically, we have 2 major loan guarantee programs. The 7A program, just think of it as our general purpose guarantee program. I don't want you to get hung up on the SBA jargon, but just think 7A, number 7, letter A. It's a general purpose guarantee. We will guarantee anywhere under that authority from 50% to 85%. With our export-related products of that authority, can even be up to 90%. Covers a variety of purposes: working capital, furniture and fixtures, inventory, land and building. In some cases, the proceeds from loans guaranteed with that authority can be used to refinance existing business debt, creating more favorable cash flow for the business, and under certain conditions can facilitate a change of ownership if you're buying out someone in order to keep the business going, for example. That loan, we can guarantee loans with that authority up to $5 million. Now, that has changed recently. And generally, the interest rates can be variable, a lot of times tagged to prime. But I'm hearing of some lenders who are willing to do fixed rate loans with that authority. The other major guarantee program is our 504 program, Fixed Assets. Because basically with that product, we help support the financing of fixed assets, major machinery equipment with a long useful life, say 10 years or more, but more often than not, commercial real estate, either new construction or renovated construction. With that, we can now do up to $5 million under that loan program, and for manufacturers, $5.5 million. It's a fixed rate loan, and it's done in conjunction with a conventional loan. And I guess if someone has specific questions on how it works, we can go into that. But basically, it's part of a package of a commercial, standard conventional commercial loan, and this 504 loan that is provided by an SBA certified development company. It's a fixed rate tied to prime, not to prime, but to U.S. Treasury rate. So you've got a fixed rate, and it's tied to the Treasury rate, which tends to be lower than the prime. So very good deal for the borrower. And in most cases, with that combination of financing, the borrower only has to put in 10% of the total project cost, as opposed to maybe 20 or more. I think that's the basics on that. Apart from the bank guarantee related finance or bank involved financing, we also have a microloan program. We actually have one of the micro lenders that are SBA approved right now, access to capital for entrepreneurs, ACE. Lisa Robinson is here from that organization. Basically, it focuses on smaller capital needs. We now allow loans up to $50,000, even though individual micro lenders may want to establish a lower maximum for their particular organization. The difference there is that the banks are not involved. It's a nonprofit private organization that is the participant in that. And basically those proceeds can be used for working capital or to acquire materials, supplies, furniture, fixtures, and equipment. So you can't use the microloan program, for example, to refi or to do a change of ownership as you could with, say, the 7(a) program. Let's see, I think that's it right now. I'll just wait until you get your questions.
Man, the questions are starting to roll.
Oh, I see.
They're all for Kevin. I'm just kidding. Kevin, tell us a little bit about where the term micro-lender, a lot of times people don't understand that, and kind of how does what you do kind of fit into this whole access to capital equation?
So Axion is for the small business. We're going to be your last line of hope if you're a small business. Once you go to my esteemed colleagues, they unfortunately tell you no, we're going to be the person that's going to help you realize your entrepreneurial dreams. Interestingly enough, we actually partner with banks such as Wells Fargo. When they do have, in those unfortunate instances, customers that they can't help, they call Axion, they call ACE, they call some of the other micro lenders in the Atlanta market, because ultimately it's really about getting you the financing that you need to kind of grow your business. There is competition within the industry, but ultimately, we want a healthy entrepreneurial market because that really helps everyone out.
This concludes part 2.